Hello, my dear listeners. We're diving back into a world of secrets, schemes, and forbidden desires. Are you ready to find out what awaits Adele next? A storm of emotions surged through Adele. Could it be him? Her Chris? He looked at her with the same unguarded sincerity, but now it burned with a new intensity. The eyes she could never forget shimmered with a glacial confidence. Her voice trembled. How did you end up here? He tilted his head slightly, never breaking the rhythm of their dance, and whispered with that same faint mockery she remembered from their youth. Don't forget, I'm Count Baines now. That's what they call me officially. And then, that smile again. Gentle, ironic, almost boyish. But in his gaze, there was a shadow she had never seen before. He continued, guiding her effortlessly through each step. But you can still call me Chris. After all, it's thanks to you I learned to dance without stepping on toes. A miracle, isn't it? Her lips twitched despite herself. The memory washed over her. She, still a girl in a light dress. He, the awkward boy with tousled silver hair, hopelessly tripping over his own feet, laughing at every mistake. She had taught him how to carry himself like a true noble, and he, in turn, had made a joke of it every time. Their laughter had been real, their happiness unburdened. Adele, his voice pulled her back. What are you thinking about? She looked up at him, dazed. How had this once sweet child, this cheerful, naive boy become the man holding her now, steady in his arms, leading her through the dance with a gaze so intense, so nearly predatory? What had happened in those 10 years? How had a minor son become a count?
She wanted to ask.
Every cell in her burned to know, but she had left him. She had shattered his heart and walked away. She had no right to ask. I guess I'm just a little on edge. It's been ages since I last danced, she murmured, averting her gaze. Let me help you, he whispered. His hand tightened around her waist, his movements sure and commanding. He watched her, deep, piercing, with a hunger that made her heart pound so violently she could hear every beat echo in her ears. And in that moment, she understood. He was no longer a boy, and she was no longer the girl who once walked away. When Adele danced with him, the world fell away. The grand hall faded into shadows. The music became a whisper beneath her feet, and time itself seemed to bend around them. She forgot about the guests, the chandeliers, the polite smiles and sharpened glances, until suddenly, as if a tear had opened in the veil, the murmur returned. A low hum of voices, growing like fire through dry grass. People were watching. People were whispering. They were at the center of it all. And yet she didn't care. Adele was chasing rhythms she hadn't felt in years. The same steps she once practiced with a boy who trampled her feet and laughed like wind in the trees. And though the one before her now was no boy, but a man with the gaze of a wolf beneath a winter moon, she knew every movement of his body, every turn, every pause. She missed that boy. She rejoiced, painfully honestly, to see him again. Everything else melted away, dissolved into haze and silence. 2 days had passed, but Chris she could not forget. The past churned within her like a tide, bittersweet and aching, like the echo of joy that comes only after it's lost. Even now, sitting in her favorite chair by the window, she stared into nothing. The air was heavy with stillness, and each breath she drew felt laden, like the moment before a storm. Adele, what are you thinking about so deeply you didn't even notice me come in? A familiar voice rang out, sharp as shattering glass. It was Mia, her closest friend, and the Baron's wife. She stood with hands on her hips, eyes full of mischief and concern. Mia, when did you get here? You startled me, Adele said, startled and flustered. I've been standing here for minutes. You didn't hear a word? What on earth were you thinking about? Mia sank into the chair beside her, studying her with quiet intensity. Nothing important, Adele muttered, lowering her gaze. I think I'll make some tea. It's getting chilly. I don't want your tea, Mia snapped, grabbing her friend's wrist and gently pulling her back down.
Sit
And talk.
now.
How was the reception? Did they like the pastries? No one ruined the mood, I hope? And tell me, did that wretched Syra do anything to you? Mia, slow down. Adele smiled faintly. Everything went fine. The dessert was a success. Even Syra kept her claws to herself. But Mia didn't believe her. She knew Adele too well. Normally, after a gathering, she would be a whirlwind of commentary, flailing hands, anxious eyes, recounting every detail with feverish energy. But now she was quiet, still, faint, like a shadow left in sunlight. Adele, Mia leaned in, lowering her voice. If everything's truly fine, then why are you like this? As if someone has replaced you. As if. She paused. Her gaze sharpened. Then she said it, softly but with the weight of thunder. As if you've fallen in love. The words cracked the silence, like a storm breaking across a calm sea. Adele turned pale at first, then flushed with heat. And then quite suddenly, she was angry. How dare Mia? So much for friendship. To suggest such nonsense. Out of the blue, like a whispered curse carried on a chill wind. It wasn't like that. Not at all. Not what Adele had imagined. This is absurd, she muttered, averting her gaze. But Mia was relentless, eyes narrowed with mischief, or perhaps something darker, like a predator who had scented blood and was already circling the wound. They say Count Kristen Bays was at the reception, she said, her voice silken and laced with danger. The one no one ever sees at the royal balls. The beautiful one. Was it him? Did you see him? Adele flinched, as if burned by the name itself. You know him? She asked, too quickly, her voice trembling on the edge of something fragile. Mia laughed a little too loudly, a little too delighted. Know him? Every girl in the kingdom knows him, she said, placing one hand dramatically to her heart. They say he's an angel, fallen or divine. No one can tell. He walks into a room and people stop breathing. Looks, charm, presence. But she leaned in, her breath brushing Adele's cheek like frost. Don't fall for him if you've already begun. Anyone but him, because he's betrothed to Princess April. Adele said nothing. He's to be the Emperor's son-in-law. Mia pressed on, voice low and heavy with knowing. The Emperor's been searching for an ally strong enough to hold the throne. The princess is obedient, pliant, and the Count, young, formidable, and most importantly, not of the elder houses. Adele stopped breathing, betrothed. Her mind reached back to the Elder Council, 5 ancient houses that ruled over the breath and bones of the Kalaim Empire. Among them, the Oswalds, the lineage of her late husband. A sick heaviness settled in her stomach. It was good news, she supposed. He had risen higher than any man could dream. And yet, her fingers curled, claw-like, into her knees, and her heart sank like a dying leaf beneath storm rain. Adele, Mia whispered, more softly now. You're pale. I'm fine, Adele said, the words hollow in her mouth. What could possibly be wrong? I'll bake something. A dessert. I'll make extra and give it to the neighbors. She rose, too quickly, and moved toward the kitchen. Not walking, fleeing, from words, from Mia, from herself. Then bang. The door flew open, the wind rushing in behind it like a ghost. Tanya burst into the room, flushed, breathless, and wide-eyed with panic. Milady, a guest. We have a guest, she gasped. There's a carriage, an extravagant one, pulling up to the house right now. Adele froze. Who could it be? Could it truly be the Oswalds? Mia and Tanya were already at the window, tense as drawn wires. Adele, Mia said softly, her voice steely beneath the velvet. If they've come to torment you again, we won't let it happen. I'm a baroness. I can protect you. Don't worry, Adele murmured, a bitter smile curving her lips. If anything, we'll serve them tea laced with poison. After all, I did poison my husband, didn't I? Silence fell like snow. A joke. Or not quite? Outside, the carriage rolled to a halt. A horse struck the ground with its hoof, a sharp, impatient sound. The door of the carriage opened with the solemn grace of a coffin lid. The women leaned toward the glass. The crest on the door, unfamiliar. Not one of the great houses. Not the Emperor's mark. Adele understood first. It was him, her Chris, at her door, and he was walking straight toward her. Thanks so much for listening. If you like the story, I'd be grateful for your likes, comments, and subscribing to the channel. I'll see you again in the next chapter of our journey.